Go.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Mrs. Snarky, duh, and I am here with Kevin Logan. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm deeply depressed. How are
You're
you?
de- you're deeply depressed. Why?
I am because I'm still alive, and yet I call for the Reaper every day, and he won't come.
Ugh,
That's what she said.
just like, just like that Reaper. They say
No,
don't fear.
I'm only joking. I'm in fine fettle. How are you?
I'm alive. There's a lot to pay attention to, and the news. I've been thoroughly entertained, and that's been amazing. Pardon me. And I also have my producer who's not talking. Shout out to Maddie. Thank you for all that you do. My one, my
Paint,
one.
paint your fucking face immediately. Yeah,
Shame on you. You've let down America. You've let us all down.
exactly. I
Keep
mean, what
saying.
did the founding fathers even bother for, really?
I could go put on face paint, but then this would just be chaos.
It would be
Well, no, it's too late
chaos.
now. It's too late. I don't want face paint as an afterthought.
Oh,
just imagine that the beard and mustache are face paint.
It is good. It is good facial hair, I have to say.
Oh, now that we've made Maddie cry, we can celebrate and watch the fireworks going on across the world, right?
Indeed. Toast marshmallows on the burning world.
Fuck yeah. This is fine, y'all. This is totally fine.
Okay, that's twice you've said y'all so far.
I'll keep saying it. I say y'all all the time.
Well, okay, but I didn't really come on to do Redneck Cast.
Oh, boo. That's fine.
I'm only joking.
This is fine.
Americans sound like rednecks to us. It's fine.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that's true. Even people
Donald
from
Trump is one of your posh people. Fucking hell. Jesus.
He's not.
He's born. He lives in a golden fucking skyscraper in Manhattan. He's one of your royalty.
Is that your definition of posh, though? I mean, don't they have to be kind of like refined and have some sense of etiquette? I mean,
well, by American standards, he is refined.
True, you got me there.
He
Damn it!
uses a knife and fork to eat pizza. I think that's the American version of like the little pinky finger coming out to drink tea.
Is that what it is? Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's comparable. So, quick question. First of all, we're really sorry about that whole Revolutionary War thing.
You say that as if you think it's over.
Yeah, well,
I say we go, well, exactly. You don't fuck around with tea in Boston Harbor. That's a lot of tea you wasted. Okay, yeah, we're coming for you.
Yeah,
my red coat is in the dry cleaners. Once I get that out in a couple of days, it's on. Round 2.
Nice. Okay, well, I don't think you'll get much resistance. I mean, and I'm one of those people that I don't like to throw shit away, so I feel you on the tea thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Of course, I'm from Texas, so my tea is iced tea with a little sugar in it. A lot of sugar.
True, yeah. But I mean, let's not go on about ice and Texas right now, because...
Yeah.
Concentration camps.
Fuck, what a stain on the South.
Well, no, in many respects, it's a perfect manifestation of the South's racism, surely.
Yeah. It pretty much is. I wish ice would go away, but not the iced tea.
Plenty of northern states voted for Trump as well. So I mean, that's
Yeah, what the fuck?
I'm looking at you, motherfuckers.
Yeah. So go ahead and tell us what's going on your channel these days.
Almost entirely Brexit shite at the moment, unfortunately. I'd like to get into the Donald Trump being impeached thing, because that's sort of quite an interesting story. But yeah, when my own country's on fire, I can't see the fire beyond the fire in front of me. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
I can't see the forest of fire for the trees of fire. If you'll allow me to definitely use a metaphor that works.
It's all just fire. That's all that it is. So
Indeed.
what exactly is going on? There ain't nothing going on in Britain, right? There ain't nothing going on in the UK.
No, it's all
Europe.
perfectly calm and normal, except that the government was found to have acted illegally, and the parliament is completely fucked, and the nation is divided in a way it hasn't been since the Civil War. Good times.
Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah. Okay. How to do this concisely? There's so much. Right. Brexit is supposed to be happening on October the 31st.
Yep.
The government did a thing called prorogation of Parliament, which basically means temporary suspension of Parliament, right? And that was earlier this month. That was then taken to court, found to have been done illegally, which then drags the Queen into it, because technically the Prime Minister lied to the Queen, which I have to say to the people of Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Jamaica, and all those other places that still have the Queen as the head of state. Technically, our Prime Minister lied to your Queen. So I feel like that's definite grounds for invading us to restore her honour, maybe.
Ooh,
I don't know.
Slap
Anyway.
in the face to the Queen. How dare he?
Exactly. Although the monarchy should be abolished. Yay. Anyway, yeah, so that happened. It was found to have been illegal by the Supreme Court in an 11-0 decision, which is basically unheard of. And although it's I should point out for Americans, they're non-politically appointed, so there's not like it's not as politicized. They're all completely independently appointed and all the rest of it. So yeah, that happened, which then meant the Parliament was, and that only happened. It feels like a million years ago. It was only on Tuesday that happened.
Yeah.
So Parliament was immediately recalled by John Bercow, who people will not necessarily know the name, but know he's the guy that shouts "Order, order."
And what does that mean that it's been recalled?
Well, like I say, it was prorogued, which means suspended, temporarily suspended.
Okay.
And the court did the delightfully British thing of deciding that technically it was never actually prorogued because it was illegal. So technically it never happened. So Parliament was still technically always sitting, even when it wasn't sitting, which meant that Bercow, who's the official title is the Speaker of the House of Commons, it's then in his power to essentially reconvene the Parliament. Which is called recalling Parliament, and that happened at basically a day's notice. So then Wednesday we had a slew of ministers answering what are called emergency questions, where when a current affairs situation occurs, a parliamentarian can ask for an emergency debate on a topic. So it was basically all Brexit related, apart from the Thomas Cook thing, which is like a British business that went under. So you had a slew of ministers being shouted at, which was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, they got fucking beasted.
Very lively. I enjoyed that. One
particular guy called Barry Shearman, a Labour MP, who absolutely lost his shit. I mean, he went fucking mental. Started basically screaming at one of the ministers, which was fun. Boris Johnson, I should even say that. Boris Johnson was in New York, technically the city of his birth, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, he was born in New York, although he rescinded his American citizenship to avoid paying tax because, that's the kind of scumbag he is. Anyway,
wow.
He was in New York on the day of the ruling, unavoidably so because it was the general meeting of the United Nations. So he was half the world away whilst his government was being absolutely kicked in the balls by the Supreme Court, which was funny. He tried to pull a kind of Trumpian, fuck you, I'm going to carry on with the trip anyway, until news came through that basically even his own MPs were like, no, get the fuck back here now. The country's on fire, you cunt.
Right.
Which I'm paraphrasing there, but that was the basic gist of it. So he then got immediately back on a plane and was back in London to give a prime ministerial statement in the House on Thursday. I forgot what fucking day it is now. On Wednesday, yes. And he got roasted. He got absolutely roasted. It was fucking brilliant. Although, to be fair, he gave plenty back in return, which is not bad. Considering he must have had some amount of jet lag, was an impressive physical performance. Yeah. But he's such garbage.
Yeah, he was still able to stand there and yell at the opposition is communist and wow.
He's nothing if not, like I say, he's a bad Trump impersonator. Basically, we've elected a kind of wannabe fascist with terrible hair who's extremely corrupt. Sound familiar, America?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So, but then the debate essentially turned on one moment where a Labour MP asked the Prime Minister about his use of language, because during the whole thing, this whole Brexit thing, there's been talk about essentially invoking war imagery, like the idea of people being traitors and capitulation and surrender and all this fucking garbage. It's when it's negotiation about like trade agreements and stuff. Like it's so boring and dull at the centre of it, but whatever. So the Labour MP asked the question and specifically made mention of a woman called Jo Cox, who people may or may not remember. During the Brexit referendum, she was a British member of Parliament who was murdered. She was assassinated during that by a far-right piece of garbage who was thankfully given a very, very lengthy prison sentence for his crime. And she specifically said, this is how, you end up in a situation where people become emboldened to physically attack members of Parliament. Can you tone it the fuck down a bit?
Right,
To which she literally said, I've never heard so much humbug in my life. Now, just the use of the phrase humbug suggests to me that he's from like a Dickens novel. Like, what the fuck?
Right, who says that? Bah, humbug!
And not good Ebenezer Scrooge post-ghost visits. No, pre that. Ebenezer Scrooge shouting at fucking Bob Cratchit type stuff. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that Picard Scrooge?
No, Michael Caine. Michael Caine Scrooge in the Muppets Christmas Carol. How dare you?
No, Picard is the best Scrooge.
No.
Oh, yes, Patrick Stewart.
Michael Caine's a terrible person, but he's a fine Scrooge.
No, not comparable to Captain Picard.
And Kermit is the best Cratchit. Just saying.
What about Captain Picard Scrooge and Kermit Cratchit?
Okay, that's a film that I will ship it.
There you
Absolutely.
Go.
Anyway, what the fuck? Where did this go? I've totally lost my thread now. Anyway, yeah. So he said that he'd never heard so much in his life, which is a ridiculous phrase, but also is so dismissive of a female member of Parliament who literally in that question brought up the fact that she'd been given rape threats and death threats and been told that she should die and stuff, and he was just incredibly dismissive of it.
So let me get this straight. He didn't give a fuck what the consequences of his words and his language were doing to his.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely see the fact that he's been advised at times. I don't know if he still is, by Steve Bannon, because he's basically playing the Bannon playbook of never apologise. He was found to have acted unlawfully. He's a fucking criminal, therefore.
Yeah.
Didn't apologise for that. Didn't apologise to the Queen. Didn't apologise to lying to the nation. Used horrific language and dismissed this person's incredibly worthwhile concerns. Didn't apologise for that. Yeah, he's absolute garbage. Which has then led to today, where the entire debate's been about the tone of British politics and how the use of language is really terrible. And you had the incredibly unedifying events today in my own city here in Birmingham, where Jess Phillips, who people may remember that name because she was the woman to whom Sargon of Akkad said he wouldn't rape her, but then made a joke about raping her. Anyway.
That was so disgusting.
It was absolutely. Yes. Another example of the way in which, that kind of rhetoric is fucking dangerous and harmful. Mm-hmm. Anyway, she asked a question about this in the House of Commons today, and partly as a result of the way in which she and other members, and it is a largely gendered issue actually here. A lot of women have been attacked in the way that men aren't usually.
Right.
Elsa Breeze. Her offices here in Birmingham. She was in London, obviously at Parliament, and Birmingham's like 200 miles away. Her office here in Birmingham, in her constituency, was attacked by a man who has now been arrested. He was screaming traitor and trying to break down the door.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah, he's been arrested. A 36-year-old man has been arrested by West Midlands police and held. I don't know what he'll be charged with, but it's pretty bad. So that's the kind of thing we're dealing with here: literal rape threats, death threats, traitor. People's windows being bricked in, all sorts of the real nasty shit has been unleashed in this country. And it's partly down to scumminess of the likes of Johnson, who continues to lie. I mean, he literally says there was a bill passed that's aimed to try and force him to seek an extension beyond the October 31st deadline, and he refers to that as the surrender bill. We're not at war here. Use of war rhetoric is not helpful.
No, it's not. Not at all.
All I have to say is I am glad to live in a country that is run on rule and law and order.
That's we'll see on that.
That's another show, another argument right there.
I mean, I'm just super glad that we don't have like the guns that have people have in America, because there would be lots more dead people.
But it sounds like you have bad people, and if you have bad people, then you need guns with good people.
Guns with good people?
Yeah, those situations which totally happen all the time, where the good person stops the bad person with the gun. Yeah, that happens all the time.
It surely does. Yes. Because people are perfect in their ability to judge situations, especially highly charged and violent situations where they're possibly.
And even if, say, like a school had a guard outside, they would definitely not, decide definitely not to go into an active shooter situation to try and protect those children. So actually, really, that's not the point of it at all. And you should fucking sort your gun problem out, America.
True.
Look, my grandpappy's uncle's brother's dog's owner. We was shot. If he'd had a gun, he might not have been shot.
He'd have shot himself, probably.
Yeah, that's the bizarre thing. If you own a gun, you're 4 times more likely to be shot than if you don't own a gun. Now, admittedly, that involves like self-dealt situations, but you're less likely to commit suicide because you don't have an immediate answer to the problem that could be a temporary issue.
But one thing that the U.S. and Britain do have in common, at least right now, is they're both being looked at and accused and alleged of breaking the fucking law of the Constitution. So there's that.
Well, at least this is the thing. At least America has a constitution. Britain has what's called an unwritten constitution, which is basically a patchwork of bullshit from centuries of lawmaking. Whereas in America, you actually have like a clear delineation of powers and checks and balances and things. Albeit that's sort of irrelevant in the situation.
Yeah,
but that's really why America's better, because you can't pull any shit with the Constitution that's written down. It's just clear.
Yeah, I mean, all the well-regulated militias agree with you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Look, if my grandpappy's uncle's brother's dog's owner wasn't in a well-regulated militia, he might not have been shot.
Yeah. Exactly. And the Constitution clearly says your right to own other human beings who are technically worth 3/5 of a human being shall not be infringed.
Yeah, pretty much.
We don't talk about that.
Well, I do want to get back to the whole, rhetoric being an issue and people enacting it out, and it being the same rhetoric used by people in power, because that is a very, very common problem in both the United States and in Britain. So, yeah, it's kind of like a lot of the language that was used by Trump, for example. He was talking about, an invasion and shit like that whenever we were talking about the migrant. They're caravans. They're coming. It's an emergency. We must build a wall, which, by the way, was declared not an emergency recently. But
indeed, it was. Yeah. So I think it's been defunded again or something. I don't know.
They'll try to find their way around it.
Almost certainly, which is ironic, given that that's what the immigrants will do to the wall. So, yes, and they will find a way. It won't have any impact and will be torn down by the next Democrat who gets in, because why the fuck would you continue to waste money on that shit?
Yeah, because most of the drugs and shit like that comes through points of entry, not fucking whatever.
Exactly.
Look, Trump has said it's a climb-proof wall.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Can't climb-proof wall. That's what the words proof on climb-proof stands for.
Exactly. And as we know from walls, the Mongolians did not get over that wall ever, except all the times they did. So
Yeah.
walls work, especially in an age of drones where you can literally just fly the drugs over.
Look! Drones and airplanes and tunnels and ladders. That shit's all fake news that you heard from the media. They're not real.
Although I have to say, the impeachment proceedings to having started, even if it never goes anywhere, which I think it definitely will, but even if it never does, just to see Trump's press conference last night where he looked so pissed off.
He did. It was great.
Yeah, because he wanted to talk about, like, I've been at the UN doing statesman. I'm a big boy statesman. Look at all the deals I've signed. And actually just going, no, I'm not a corrupt, evil bastard. Honest. It's fake news. And he was so downbeat. And I'll be honest, I got a little bit erect.
Didn't he also sound really defeated?
Yeah, he genuinely sounded fucking tired.
You never hear him like, and this is what the Democrats have done to me.
There are so many reports coming out of the White House by, unnamed sources or whatnot. Who's to say if they're absolutely 100% true? But there's a lot of stuff coming out saying he's so distraught. He can barely walk. He barely talks. He can barely shit and tweet. I mean, well, he's still shitting and tweeting, obviously. Presidential harassment, right? But anyway.
Which, I think that would be a good band name. Presidential harassment.
I just got to say how amazing it is to go from last week, it was Obama Netflix, to he's being impeached. That's great.
Yeah, that is good. And I hope he gets, just so he goes down in history as having been impeached. I mean, the Senate is never going to get, you're never going to get to 2/3 because the Republican Party are fucking scum. But you'd certainly get him impeached initially, even if it ends up Clinton style with him just being impeached and being a lame duck at the end there.
Yeah, at least definitely he'll be exposed. People will know.
Even under the ridiculous non-transcript, which is obviously heavily edited in his favor and all the rest of it, he still blatantly asks the president of Ukraine to interfere.
Yeah, but he didn't use the exact words quid pro quo. So
no, he didn't. He didn't because he doesn't know what that means. But
it's Latin. Who knows?
Exactly, it's fancy. Exactly, it's foreign. So if English was good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for the Americans.
That's right.
As literally a former governor of, I think it was Georgia, said, America's got some smart people, and some governors of Georgia. Yes. Where the fuck was I? He didn't exactly use the term quid pro quo, but when there was literally no policy reason why that aid would have been initially withdrawn from Ukraine, and then he asks for that, do us a favor type situation, and then it's reinstated. I don't know how else to look at that possibly than a quid pro quo.
Look, it was just a conversation. It was just a conversation that he had with some dude about some stuff, okay?
Look, I don't know how we can say that he was trying to pressure the president of Ukraine. The president of Ukraine still has both kneecaps. Like, if he was pressuring him, he would have kneecapped him at least once.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, especially a guy who apparently is threatening to... What did he say about it? Did he say that he was going to get rid of somebody?
Trump said that he wishes that the whistleblowers are like spies, and we used to deal with spies differently.
There goes that rhetoric again.
He wants to execute people. Yeah.
Well, maybe he wants to flip them.
Maybe.
007 double agent thing.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what? But that doesn't make any sense. Who are they flipping? Who's the other side? 7-dimension
chess.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I do love that. It is. It's like the fake news in reverse situation where it's a catch-all where Trump can do the craziest, dumbest shit ever, and you just go, no, you don't understand. It's 4-dimensional chess. Honest, it's all part of the plan. No, He shat himself. He shat himself in public. That's not part of a 4D chess match. That's him shitting himself because he's an old man.
They can't hide a mic in his asshole if he shits himself.
That is, I think it was originally Plato that said that, wasn't it?
I believe so. It's
No,
the
that was.
forgotten part of the urethro.
I thought I could have swore it was. I could have swore it was Thales because water.
No.
whatever.
It's either God. When you have the God is maleficent, or he can't do everything. In the end, it was, or he's a dude with a mic in his asshole.
Exactly.
It totally makes sense. Everything makes sense now.
Well, how else would you get that booming God voice without the echo of the anus?
Exactly. He talks through his anus. God talks through his anus.
Yeah.
Of course. That explains the Bible.
He
right?
can do anything, Snarky. God can do anything. He can talk
Well,
out of his anus.
Yeah,
if you could do anything, why would you talk out of your mouth? You talk
True.
out of any other orifice, or just have speech bubbles appear above your head. That would be pretty cool, like a cartoon. You could live like a cartoon.
That would be awesome.
That would be
Where
awesome.
do I sign up? Anyway,
to be God.
to be a cartoon, really.
Oh, okay. Japan, probably.
Japan, that makes sense. Totally makes sense. Well,
to be God, I think you ought to go to like French Guiana or something.
French Guiana. That is a delightful old school reference. Well done. Well done.
So back to what's going on in the UK. What do you think's gonna? How do you foresee this playing out? I mean, holy shit!
Have you seen Mad Max?
No.
Okay. Well, that reference won't work then.
I've never seen British Mad Max. That would be great.
Yeah.
I want to see posh Mad Max.
Yeah. Imagine Mad Max, but with top hats and monocles.
Monocles?
Monocles. Who doesn't like a monocle? Please.
I mean,
or possibly pince-nez, even. For people who have sight problems in both eyes. And like Victorian throwback eyewear. Anyway. I've gone a bit steampunk. It's a bit weird. Anyway. A complete aside, but my father's so weird. This was ages ago now, but my brother had attended a steampunk event, and I had to try and decipher that from the fact that my father was absolutely adamant that he'd gone to a pumpkin event, and I thought, what the fuck are you talking about? And I had to ask him questions, and eventually found out, no, you mean steampunk. Yeah, that's what I said. No, it wasn't. You said pumpkin. Shut up.
That's hilarious.
He's been going senile since he was about 12, I think. Anyway, where the fuck was I? Where do I see this going? Nowhere good, basically, because all of the potential solutions to the problem aren't really solutions to the problem. It's like a Gordian knot of fuckery. That doesn't matter which solution we go with. Either there's going to be a no-deal Brexit, which is going to be catastrophic. And that was actually another lie that the Prime Minister told, a smaller one, but one nonetheless. There was a thing called Operation Yellowhammer, which is an awesome name for a shit thing. It's the government's operation to find out like what's the worst or what's the scenarios that might happen under a no-deal Brexit. Originally it was called the base case for the a no-deal exit, which basically meant what's the kind of average likely outcome of a thing. And they changed that to being the worst case scenario on the document, pretending that the average, case scenario was going to be the worst case scenario when it isn't. So the really horrific thing that scared the fuck out of everyone is actually not the worst case scenario. Brilliant. So that's not a solution to anything, and it's going to fuck everything up. We could end up with an extension to Article 51, which is just going to mean the continuation of the fuckery that's been going on for 3 years. You could have a second referendum, which would be catastrophic in terms of social cohesion because the rift in the country is just going to get wider and wider. You couldn't have you're almost certainly going to end up with an election before the end of the year, regardless of what course of action we take, which is going to be so divisive, partly because Johnson's already setting it up to be decisive. He's literally setting up to be me and the people versus Parliament, and me and the people versus the establishment, even though he couldn't be any more establishment if he tried. He's a
I
fucking
know.
boy who was privately educated and has had everything handed into his lap. He is the absolute quintessence of privilege. And yet he's setting himself up as a populist anti-establishmentarian. Fuck off.
Yeah, don't let the bad hair and the bad haircut fool you. He's definitely part of the establishment.
I just have to add that one of the richest people in the U.S. did the same thing.
Yeah, but America, I mean, Britain's fucking dumb. Don't get me wrong. But America is has taken dumbness and made it into an art form.
Yes.
Hey, we got a chicken in every pot and a mic in every anus.
The way God intended.
Damn right.
Yes.
It says so in the Bible. I mean, you have to read between the lines, but it's there. Come on.
Yep.
In Romans chapter 12, verse 4. I don't know if that's a thing.
I'm totally going to go and find what that is.
Look, 2 Corinthians told me it was so. So.
Exactly. And Corinthians is very much like the word of Dennis Prager. Absolute fact.
Oh, yeah. Objective facts.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
What is it? No, you got to tell us.
It says, okay. So Romans 12:4. For just as each one of us has one body with many members, and these members do not all have the same function. Your mic anus has a function. And
that's perfect.
Well, and clearly when it says members, it means penises.
It does.
So, yeah. I piss out of one of them. I use other for procreation. And the other one, it's ornamental.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's an ornament? Okay. Well.
The mic anus is ornamental unless, it's good for doctors to find out what's going on.
Yay! Hashtag
when you say you've
stuff.
got, when I say I've got a mic in my anus, it's usually a person called Mike.
And if I was just imagining an anus down there so that you didn't have to scream, is it good for you? You could just speak and, is this good for you? Is it good? Do you like that?
Okay, Maddie went to the whole ASMR weird portion of the show, and we weren't. This is not the ASMR weird portion.
Look, we're having a chat with a cock and balls, okay?
Penis! We're getting some penis in the chat, and we love it. Yeah.
Quality. This is Friday morning entertainment for me. This is delightful.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's pretty late there, huh? It's tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. Exactly. Well, hello from the future.
Is Trump impeached yet? Is Trump gone?
It's just no, not yet, but it's still just as shit as it was when you were back yesterday. So.
To be expected, really.
Yeah. So so what do we see happening with the impeachment stuff anyway? Because it seems like it's a pretty obvious he'll get impeached, but then the Senate will say fuck off situation.
All right, so so here's how this works. First, the Speaker of the House has to say they're ready for an impeachment inquiry, which is what happened a couple days ago. Then they have to get the votes in order to vote on whether or not impeachment is going to go through, which they now have the votes. They could vote for impeachment tomorrow, and they could go to a hearing. Basically, though, they're going to want to gather as much evidence as possible so that once they send it to the Senate can't just be like, there's nothing here. Even so, the Senate's probably not going to vote to remove. They might do a Clinton, and this whole thing is impeachment. But it'll be drawn out. He'll probably be out of office before it's even over. But it's still the thing about an impeachment is it's much harder to keep things hidden and keep things behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
It all kind of just comes out.
Yeah, and this isn't a very great time for an impeachment hearing for Trump anyway, because all kinds of shit are going to come out of the woodwork at a time when we're having a re-election.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that's why they. Another reason why they shouldn't have it yet, because it'll be forgotten. Well, not forgotten, but the impact of it will be lessened. Whereas if they have it say, I don't know, March next year or something, it will have a bigger impact. So that, you'd think they'd hold off for a little while.
Well, impeachment inquiries and, the like, they take a long time. So it is going to be drawn out, I think, for a while. And I just want to shout out the chat, who is awesome right now. They're alive, they're lively, and they're saying dick, and I love it.
Dick and balls. Rick Hard.
Yeah.
Richard. Richard, not Rick Hard.
Rick Hard. That's what that says.
Now, well, if that person ever goes into porn, we know their name now.
Rick Hard.
Ricardo. Boobs. That's right.
But no, basically with the impeachment, it's a good, like, I had said if they were going to push for impeachment, it would be before the end of 2019, because that's going to be like the focus of Trump throughout the election time period.
Yeah.
And stuff's going to come out. It's going to keep coming out. And it's just...
Oh, yeah.
When's Mike Pence going to come out?
Well, as soon as his mother allows him.
Yeah, we got to ask mother for permission.
I do love how Trump just hit Pence under the bus yesterday.
Oh, yes, that was gorgeous.
He was like, they took the second call. They should have asked for the first call. There's another call. Oh, and Pence had 2 calls. They should ask for those too. It's like, what are you doing?
He's basically like, if I'm going down, I'm taking all you fuckers with me.
True, but I mean, if that happens, he might find himself being suicided, maybe, because he's old. So, you could definitely slip him something and he could just die. Because there's a lot of powerful people who are like, fuck, I've sold out to this motherfucker so bad.
Yikes.
Lindsey Graham has not shit properly in months, I'm sure.
We here at Mrs. Snarky Corporation do not condone. No, anyway.
I would just like to point out it was the Brit that was calling for the offing of the president.
No, I wasn't. No. I wasn't even calling for it. I mean, I will call for it. No, I'm only joking. I wasn't actually calling for it. I'm saying in the same way that what's his name? Old pedo McFucking suicide face. The guy who committed suicide, quote unquote, in jail. What's his name?
Oh, Epstein.
Yeah, in the same way that Epstein committed suicide, honest guys.
Totally.
Himself having died of old age, honest guys. If he starts threatening to bring down loads of powerful people.
Look, all I'm saying is hashtag Clinton body count. That's all I'm saying.
Trump is the healthiest president we've ever had.
I loved that. Was my favorite lie he's ever told. I'm the most healthy president. No, motherfucker, you're in your 70s. That's fine. You don't have to be healthy. The guy who preceded you could literally knock down fucking 3-pointers. I don't think you could throw a basketball that far.
If he did, he would put it between his legs and throw it up.
Yeah, he might be able to bowl a basketball that far, but not in the air.
A life full of KFC and McDonald's is one of vitality and much energy.
Yeah, well, exactly. But that's the bizarre thing, because no one is sat there thinking, well, this 70-year-old man needs to be physically absolutely shredded. No, he's a 70-year-old man. That's fine. Just don't fucking lie about it, dude. There's no need. No one's there. No one's there going, well, has he got abs? No, clearly he hasn't got fucking abs.
You're talking about a guy that lies like he's probably lied millions of times in his presidential term so far.
Look,
Trump
has a 7-pack. Okay,
7-pack.
Yeah, like his testicles have pecs.
Well, that'll be all the cock push-ups, definitely. But that's actually another example of where Boris Johnson is sort of like Trump. The lies are remarkable. I don't know if you saw it was about 2 weeks ago now. He visited a hospital for like one of these things where they do like a photo opportunity.
Yeah.
And he was confronted by a dude who's like sick kid, nearly died the night before because like staffing shortages because of his government's cuts to everything. And he absolutely, I mean, the guy fucking roasted him. It was brilliant. And Johnson's first response when the guy said, when you just come here for a press, for a press photo shoot opportunity, and Johnson's immediate response was, "There's no press here," and the guy just went, "Look at these people," and because it was on camera, they were being filmed. And Johnson said, "There's no press here," and the bloke just went, "Well, who are these people then?"
Look, there's no phone here.
Camera crews don't just sort of walk around hospitals for no reason. It's not a usual thing you find, you know.
This is not a phone, okay? We live in alternative fact land, and this phone is not here.
Okay, I do have a question for you. Has Boris Johnson ever sent his talking points to Corbyn?
No, but I did see that the White House excelled themselves in fucking derp. The thing is, it was so. I mean, it was dumb, obviously, but there was no point because those talking points were so basic. Like I could have written those for them.
But
like
the thing is, they went with it. They still went with it. Like they sent the recall. They sent the Democrats an email that said, "Pay no attention to that email we just sent you."
Yeah.
Oh.
Pretty
and
much.
I bet every Democrat went, "Oh, that's all right then. Fair enough." Anyway, I was going to respond to the Nigerian prince.
It had already been shared out by just about every Democrat that had received it. Like, this is the dumbest thing in the world.
It's so amazing how blatant they were with it, too. I mean, you could just keep that right by, like, your desk or wherever you watch fucking TV, and you could just check them off the talking points.
Well, I think it's a new strategy, a new winning strategy. I think NFL coaches should share their playbook with the opposition first, and then I think they'll definitely win.
That'll go down very well.
Okay, but here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Because that's the last thing they'll be expecting. That's the thing. To catch your opponents off guard, do the thing they least expect by completely giving up all of your secrets immediately.
Yeah.
But
that's how he's playing his national security game, too.
If an NFL team sent out their playbook to the other team, they wouldn't run those plays. But that's not the way the White House works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they still ran those plays and were surprised when the defense knew exactly what they were doing. Yeah.
So I want to ask.
10 interceptions in a row. This is peculiar. What's going on?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's just the levels of derp. But I did have a very important question.
Yes.
How is Rory Katz? Because, Rory is the star of the show on your channel.
Very much so. He's very well. I don't know where the fuck he is, but he's around somewhere. And Chopsy as well, my other fur beast, who I don't think has made an appearance. Well, he's in my slideshow for my live shows, if that makes sense, on my OBS, but I don't think I've actually had him on my channel as such. He broke his leg. He's okay.
Aww.
Yeah, so he's in a cast at the moment. But he managed to make it up the stairs now. He's worked out how to do that on 3 legs, which is good.
Oh,
which requires more brain power than either Boris Johnson or Trump have.
Yeah,
that's true.
Chopsy for president,
and clearly they're both jealous because Chops can lick his own balls. So
yep.
Oh, if they could, we'd never have this talk because they wouldn't be in power.
Probably.
True.
That's all they'd be doing.
Downing Street has cats. They're official cats.
I did not know this.
Yeah, they do. There's 2. There's Larry. There's Larry the cat, and there's Palmerston, who lives at number 11. And Larry the cat has an official title. It's something ridiculous, like was it Her Majesty's representative for mouse catching or some silly nonsense.
Oh.
I'm gonna look it up now, just because it happened. We're in that place now where I'm looking up Larry the cat facts.
Yes, we're at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, cats are important, so
because he has an official title, which is more than I will ever have. So the cat's outdone me.
I have a personal question to ask. Can we have Burkow?
Well, he's nearly done. Yeah, he's officially giving up on the 31st of October. After which point, I presume he'll just be roaming the streets, going order, order, random people.
I am trying to order a sandwich. I will get my point across.
Hey, you know, he would be really handy to have at Subway. Because the
His
Subway
official-
here.
His official title, genuinely true, Chief Mouser to the Cabinet Office.
I love it.
And he's an incumbent. Oh my God. He assumed the office on the 15th of February 2012.
Yes, that is amazing.
Serving under the monarch Elizabeth II and under three separate prime ministers. He was preceded by Sybil the cat. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yes. Why don't we have this kind of structure in the United States?
Oh, but typical has to be a man, doesn't it? It's a male.
Of course.
When are we going to have a female chief mouser to the cat?
I have the Meowtricari. That's hard.
Hey.
Meowpatrac. I can't say it. I was trying to say meow and patriarchy, but it did not come out. Meowpatrac. Nope.
Mouse. Yeah.
Not happening.
Well, no, matriarchy just sounds like a Chinese communist dictator situation.
Oh my God.
It does. The closest thing we have to anything like that is the president pardons a turkey.
Yeah, but this year it was named Manafort.
No.
What do they do with those turkeys?
Probably eat them. I don't like. Do they actually like? I think
exactly. Is that just a ceremonial thing, or does the turkey actually get to live?
I have no idea.
I like to think, because I'm an American and I'm a dreamer, I like to think they let the turkey live and they put it at a farm where it can roam free among its peers.
And also, under Trump, what did that turkey have to do to bribe Trump to pardon it?
You don't want to know.
Did it have to give it a gobble?
Yeah, the gobble.
Gullet job. That's what it had to do. A gullet job.
Well, let's just hope that
the turkey's mouth would be too big for his hands.
let's just hope he didn't stuff the turkey. That's a bit much.
Well, I mean, I don't think he could. Like, you just have one mushroom. That's not much stuffing. Even if you coat it in flour, it's still not enough for stuffing.
Well, oh God. Did you, slightly aside, it seems like we're talking about Trump's penis in a coded way. Did we see the Ben Shapiro's weird thing about Kavanaugh?
Cockwatch 2019.
Yeah,
going on about fucking, well, we haven't had a description of his penis. And he literally used the phrase, maybe they're generic. What?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they are.
What is a generic cock and balls, exactly? What a weird fucking phrase that is. You sad little bastard. Oh, God. Part of me wants to kind of mother Ben Shapiro and tell him it's okay, you don't have to be a complete prick. A part of me wants to throw him into a volcano. So I'm stuck. I don't know what to do.
Well, I'd just like to say this is Cockwatch Day 11. Shapiro has still not seen Kavanaugh's junk.
No, he has to have it described.
What is he hiding in his? I'm going to go with briefs.
Another smaller junk.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you could have a fake junk just in case someone tries to steal your junk.
Look, that's just where he hides. That's where he hides his cheese. It's okay. But yeah.
But he likes beer, so that's fine. It's fine that he's also a rapist because he likes beer. Apparently.
Yeah, he likes beer. And yeast.
God, America's so weird. Britain's bad, but America's weird.
I have to live here, so yeah, I get it.
Look, I will tell you that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died and gave that right to me.
Hey, do you remember our friend?
I love that America calls itself the land of the free, and yet has the highest prison population in the world by capita and overall number.
Isn't that great?
How would you know how to enjoy freedom if you didn't have a significant portion of your population incarcerated? That's
true.
Exactly. In what is essentially an industry, it's not a justice system.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah. But they're black and poor, so who cares, I guess.
It's called freedom, Kevin. You might try it sometime.
It's a good way to get cheap labor, which happens.
Yeah. Well, I suppose, is it better to be a black guy in prison or be dead because the cops shot you before you got there? That's, I suppose, the only positive way of looking at it, which is
pretty
fucking
much
terrible.
Yeah, that's pretty much the choices that you face if you're, in the demographic.
But it's a meritocracy, guys. Honest.
Look, this is not a racist country. We had a black president. Racism is over. So
I love that. That's still my favorite piece of American bullshit ever.
yeah.
Was the idea of the post-racial America. Like, who the fuck are you people trying to kid? Really?
Look, we were founded on super duper racism and imperialism and all that stuff, but we have a black friend, so
look, I don't see color.
Well, you have. Well, no, you have 3/5 of a black friend.
I don't see fractions.
I don't see fractions. Well,
fractions just divide us.
You right. Decimated that argument.
Decimated. Oh, nice, nice.
Oh my goodness. Well, what else is going on that you want to rant about?
The Amazon rainforest being destroyed. That's not good.
No, it's not.
Look, it was on fire like 3 weeks ago. We cared about that for a couple days. Say goodbye. Yeah. Say goodbye.
It's sort of, also a genocide of indigenous people who live there. So double whammy.
That and it's depriving the world of oxygen. I don't know about y'all, but I like to breathe. I like breathing.
Well, I do like to breathe, but I can't help but feel that humanity has had its run and needs to stop now. So maybe in a kind of roundabout way, it'll be good for the planet if humanity just dies.
But then we'll just be left with Trump and Boris.
Well, like the cockroaches, yeah.
Yeah.
Fighting over the last KFC turkey leg.
Look, I'm not worried. I'm not concerned at all about the planet dying or the rainforest or anything. But a teenager spoke at the UN, and that tore me apart.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's a terrible snowflake piece of SJW shit. But why did the small lady talk about the climate? That's terrible. I'm going to attack her.
Yeah, and did you see her braids? I mean, she's basically that's Nazi propaganda.
Dinesh D'Souza is the most ridiculous human being that's ever lived.
Yeah.
In fact, literally just put a poster that was like a Nazi thing with a braided-haired child, and then put a picture of Greta with the braided hair, and was like, "See, she's a Nazi."
But if we can't trust Dinesh D'Souza, then who can we trust, Kevin?
I don't know, but I can't help but feel that Dinesh D'Souza is like a living embodiment of a mic-up and anus.
I
think he might be a fraud.
I think he might be. And the fact that he was pardoned by a fraud is like a double fraud. It's like fraud squared in many respects.
Didn't he go to prison for fraud? Isn't that what
he did indeed, and then he was released, but officially pardoned by Trump because that's obviously what Trump would do because he really cares about corruption. Guys, he's honest. That's all he meant when he was referring to doing a favor. Yeah, we want to sort out corruption in the Ukraine because if you remember, he had three things: he was going to make America great again, build a wall, and end corruption in the Ukraine. Those were his three big key policy.
Look, he's draining the swamp.
Yes.
I just got to say, I think you both failed at multiplication because Trump is a very negative influence on the U.S. Dinesh D'Souza is a very negative influence. And if you multiply a negative by a negative, you get a positive. So
that's rational.
It's mathematical genius.
Right? Can't argue with that.
Stable genius.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Apparently he's not even stable on his feet anymore, which is poor Donald.
But he's like a weeble, so he doesn't fall down.
That's just because his legs are so small, yeah.
Have you seen the hotline for people that are outraged about Greta?
There's a hotline? What the fuck?
No, it's like a parody video thing going around Twitter. It's hilarious.
Oh, okay.
You
For a
got to
sec-
check
'cause
it out.
that's how mental the word is. Because when you said that, I was shocked, but I thought, yeah, they probably have set that up. That's a thing I could actually see these motherfuckers doing.
I could too.
You call in and you just hear Sargon crying for an hour.
Yeah. Well, it's like listening to one of his live streams then, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but Greta Thunberg. Not only is she amazing in so many ways, and I love that image will be burned into my retina forever. The fantastic camera work of when Trump walks in and she's just staring daggers at him. Beautiful.
I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I want a fucking poster of that shit. I want to put it right here.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yes.
But I mean, it's not, of all the massive issues, the thing that most disturbed me about the whole thing was the libertarians. And when I say libertarians, I mean like right-wing idiots, not the original usage of that phrase.
Yeah, taxation is theft libertarians, right?
Yeah, the Ron Paul types who have managed to turn a 16-year-old girl doing, climate activism and make it into a how can we use this as the millionth excuse for me wanting to stick my penis into children.
Oh. Yeah,
that's the thing that happened.
It's a thing that happened more than once. Like a couple of people have been saying.
I saw several people who are of that libertarian bent saying that they basically saying, well, if she's old enough to have an opinion, she's old enough to get raped.
What the fuck, guys? Seriously, what the fuck?
Yeah, literally one of them. I saw someone arguing that if you're okay with Greta Thunberg being an activist and being taken seriously and addressing the UN, then you can't have a problem with what Jeffrey Epstein was doing.
Bullshit.
I would just like to say that I will not be doing any kind of satire or parody on this.
I think that's wise. I think that's the correct course of action on this occasion.
Yep.
Yeah.
No way to make this funny.
Yeah.
Exactly. Libertarianism, kids. Not even once.
Yeah. Speaking of not funny, you have a great series that I've been binge watching.
What the fuck was that? What the hell? That's the worst.
No.
That's the worst.
Not funny, but very funny.
Speaking of not funny, your channel.
Speaking of not funny, your content is fucking shit.
That's not what I meant. I meant like the content.
What you said.
I did. I am shitty. No,
Stop.
It's funny, but it's not funny, but it's funny, right? Because you have
keep digging.
I keep digging.
It's good.
I'm
definitely dig if you dig to the other side of the earth, you can just walk back round again to the top. It'll be fine.
Well, I hear they have a better economy in China. That joke never gets old. But yeah, the descent into the manosphere. Like, I saw that just took me to the void. And but it was also like I found myself laughing at the end of it. But at the same time, it's like, what the fuck? How did you put yourself through that? How did you manage to
which episode are you referring to?
Oh God, like most of them? All of them?
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. My whole channel was built around the idea of I wanted to expose these arseholes. So I just thought, well, I'll look into their content and expose an individual, or sometimes it's an event like the ICMI conferences, which are amazing, MRA international conferences, where all your favorite rape apologists love to go and talk shit for a few days.
The bit about rape.
Yes, there's the thing called The Inevitable Bit About Rape, which is a segment in each and every show because these motherfuckers are obsessed with rape.
Yeah.
And not obsessed with stopping rape. That's fine. That's a perfectly wise and honourable course of action. They're obsessed with rape.
Yeah.
So that had to happen in terms of the segment in the show. And the whole point of the show, I suppose, is to be quite jarring because... well, not because, but it's inevitable given the fact that I'm trying to do essentially a comedy show about things that are horrifically unfunny.
And I just told you it was not funny. Go
Yes.
me.
No, but it's supposed to be sort of not fun. Like it's meant.
Yeah.
There are meant to be bits in there that you'll laugh at because they're sort of jokes and stuff. But ultimately, they're not feel good videos. You're not going to walk away
Oh,
thinking
no.
like, "Oh, well, that was really uplifting." No, you're just going to go, "Oh, humanity's shit."
Yeah.
But I'll watch the next episode.
Yeah,
Which just
it's
people do.
addictive. I think one of the most shocking, I can't remember his name, but I think he was Danish, and he had went to prison, and then he came back, and now he has a YouTube channel.
Oh no, Norwegian. Yes.
Norwegian. Oh yes.
Yeah. What's his fucking name again? Now?
Oh my God! But he
Varg
gave that.
Vikernes. Yeah.
What was it?
His name's Varg Vikernes.
Oh, he was pretty bad. I'd
he's
want to
really
say the worst.
Yeah, certainly one of the worst. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are people who are more extreme politically, albeit not by much because he's a Nazi.
Yeah.
But he's a fascinating story because he was a death metal musician, like a really influential and successful death metal musician from Norway, who in the 1990s murdered one of his friends who was also a death metal musician, and went to prison, and then broke out of prison and holed up with guns in a barn looking for a shootout with the police. That didn't quite work out, so he then took one of those guns, carjacked a woman and a child, and then stole their car at gunpoint, as you do, and then drove into Oslo and eventually gave himself up. And for all of that, he served like 15 years.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck? And
Madness.
now he's one of the voices talking about how it's perfectly fine if she says no to just go ahead and do. Oh, he's such oh,
absolute garbage bag. Although thankfully his channel was removed from YouTube, which is good. Not long after I'd done my video, because that's actually happened a couple of times. I've been researching people's videos and stuff, and I don't download immediately. I download them eventually. I'm getting around to actually putting it together.
Right.
And between then and actually making the notes, their channels got removed. So all of that research was for nothing, which is a bit annoying. But also, that's another jarring aspect of it. It's really annoying on a personal level, but also good because these people shouldn't be here.
Right,
people
agreed.
have the platforms. So, silver linings and all that jazz.
Yeah, speaking of another silver lining, you also were one of the first people, I think the person, to kind of highlight just how disgusting Milo is.
One of I had a small role in his downfall, thankfully.
Yeah.
I put out a video. I have to give props to a guy who used to make videos. Unfortunately, doesn't anymore. A guy who went by the name of SJW 101, the political gamer, who alerted me to the Joe Rogan clips of him saying, oh well, I sucked off a Catholic priest, but it was my fault. Honest, I was the perpetrator, and defending the Catholic pedophile who he knows exists and still hasn't gone to the police about.
Right.
So it could have been raping children for the past 2 decades, maybe, and Milo could have stopped it, but there we go. Anyway, and so I used those clips in a video exposing the hypocrisy of him and, was it Sarah, either Butts or Nyberg, I forget her exact, I forget which name she goes by, who, there was something where she wrote a blog about her niece or something, and it sounded a bit pedophilic. It wasn't very nice. But there was no accusation necessarily that she'd done anything illegal. And Milo went crazy because she's in SJW. So I put that video together basically saying, you're a massive hypocrite, Milo, because you actually support pedophilia, you fucking sick bastard.
Yeah.
And then from that point, that video was played to him on the Drunken Peasants podcast. My video of him, to which he then gave more inflammatory responses. And it was those clips that were used by a group called the Reagan Battalion to get him deplatformed from the CPAC convention, which was the start of all of the downfall. So I had a small role in his downfall, which I'm very, very proud of. But the one thing that did annoy me, actually, was in that Drunken Peasants episode, the one question, I would love to have heard his response to it, because they cut the video off just before, because obviously, I know they're doing a show, and so once they've got the reaction they wanted from him, they move on to another topic or whatever. But just after they cut from where they cut that video off, I asked Milo the question, and he said that he made the argument that the Catholic priest who, I would say, raped him, he said, it was he came onto the Catholic priest or whatever. he said that was an important part of gay relationships, that older men transition boys, not young men, boys into homosexual love.
Gross.
Which is gross and illegal and disgusting in so many different ways.
And just happens to be a right-wing talking point, doesn't it?
Yes, indeed so. Well, as I point out in the episode, he's a homophobe in the a homosexual homophobe in the same way that Blair White is a transphobic trans person.
Yeah, and they do exist, y'all. They do exist.
Absolutely, they do. Yeah, you'll always find I believe they refer to it as Aunt Jemima's. That was sort of a version of an Uncle Tom for the trans people, I believe.
Yikes.
Yeah. Anyway, just before, so they cut the video off. But if they played it on like another 10 seconds, I literally play that clip of him saying, it's important for men to fuck boys in the gay community or whatever. I then asked him the question: if you were okay then with that Catholic priest who he said was in his late 20s, fucking what was then he was unspecific, but 13 or 14-year-old Philo Yiannopoulos, would he therefore, as a man who was in his mid-30s at the time, would he be open to, and has he engaged in the fucking of children? Because that's an important part of teaching young gay boys, right? So have you, Milo, or would you be open to having sex with children? And I'd have loved to hear his reaction to that question, because I think if he was to be intellectually honest, he'd have to say yes, in which case he would be put on some fucking watch list or possibly just put in jail.
Yeah, and honestly, it really shocked me, because in the marketplace of discussion or whatever, that was not asked.
Yeah.
And it really shocked me. Bill Maher didn't ask. Nobody fucking asked.
Well, those clips, the bizarre thing, and those clips had been around, like that Joe Rogan appearance was like 2 years old by the time the whole CPAC thing started, and which was his downfall. And the press just didn't go with it. They were happy to just let him go, because he is, at his core, he's perfect for the modern age. He's a horrific human being who will say anything. Like, he's the kind of person who would eat a dog turd if it got him attention. He doesn't give a fuck. He'll do anything and say anything to get attention.
Well, he's getting to the
clicks. Sorry?
I was going to say, he's getting to the point to where he'll have to submit himself to eating a dog turd.
Well, he's not going to have money for food, so he's going to have to, yes.
Yeah.
And I feel no sympathy for whatsoever. If he starved to death, I would laugh. This is not getting monetized. This is definitely monetized.
It's not. I might have to actually. No, I won't put it on restricted or whatever. But I think it's an important thing. I'm glad that you're exposing these people.
Well, thank you.
And I think you've done a good job. I mean, if you were able to talk about such dark topics, and at the end of it, I've found myself laughing, then I think that's a job well done. And definitely, I commend you for looking through. I can't imagine the hours that you devoted to looking through all this garbage and trying to sort through stuff.
Well, thankfully, because the job I do, I'm sat on my ass doing nothing most of the time. I do all my research at work. I just sit at work watching YouTube videos. Technically, if my work are listening, I also look up at the security cameras, which is why I'm being paid to do.
I've done that kind of job before.
I sit there watching YouTube/sport for hours on end, and it's an amazing way to earn a living.
It's a great job, yeah.
Yeah, and so it doesn't pay very well, but it beats working. Anyway, yes, that's what I do in terms of actually doing the research. Is not like that much of a chore or such, and it's a way in which I use my kind of white straight man privilege.
Right.
Because I'm not as immediately affected by the things these people are saying, so I find it less viscerally horrific, if that makes sense. So I can look at it and not be mentally destroyed in a way that maybe someone who was gay or black or a woman or whatever might be, because that's shit they have to deal with. Like when they talk about rape, I know I'm not likely to be raped, whereas obviously a woman would not necessarily have that same reaction.
Right. I've thought about doing videos about the subject, but it's because I've been, even just being here on YouTube, I've had instances where I had to tell somebody, look, you need to knock it the fuck off. and it's been pretty bad. It's rough. Like, we have it pretty tough. But yeah, I commend you for all that work that you do, and I appreciate it as a woman, and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think we are going to have to wrap things up. But I do have one thing that I wanted to bring up, is that I have a new avatar, which I will be using from here on out, and it was made to me by Art of TC Baldwin, Trey, our friend Trey, and it's absolutely amazing. He does incredible work. I hope that Maddie has it on the screen for you so you can see what it looks like.
Just popped it
but
up.
yeah, I have all of Trey's contact information, his deviant art, stuff like that down in the description. I also have Kevin's channel linked in the description as well, and Twitter and all that good stuff. So definitely, if you're not subscribed to Kevin, I can't imagine that anybody in my audience isn't subscribed.
No, if you're not subscribed to me, don't. In fact, if you are subscribed to me, unsubscribe from me.
Don't do it. I don't recommend. Kevin puts out good content.
I recommend that because I'm a contrarian at heart.
Oh.
So I feel like I have to say unsubscribe from me immediately. My channel is terrible.
Well, that's been Kevin's plug. So.
Well, we've heard it's not funny.
Yeah, I'm just keeping with the general vibe of this. My channel is shit. Yeah, just.
I'm never gonna live that one down. You're not funny. Yeah.
Hey, Snarky, remember when you had Kevin Logan on and you told him he wasn't funny?
Yeah, I remember that.
That was great.
That was not long ago.
Ironically, that was funny. So I mean, you've outdone me already. Just by telling me how unfunny I am, you've been more funny than I've ever been funny.
Oh, that's sweet. Not true, but it's sweet. But anyway, so you would have to. People are asking how much would it cost to do an avatar. I'm not sure what his rates are, but like I said, his info is in the description. Art of TC Baldwin on Twitter. So hit him up, ask him, see what's going on over there. Which she's probably not watching, so
he doesn't watch any of our stuff.
Yeah. Hi, Trey. That's not watching.
He's not watching.
You're not watching me.
Trey doesn't watch anything.
That is not funny.
True.
It's true, but it's not funny. But yeah, thank you very much, Kevin. I hope that you had a good time here, even though I insulted you horribly.
Well, thank you, but I've just noticed the picture behind you on the wall. Are those raccoons on fire?
Now that you mention it, it does kind of look that way. No, they're just raccoons in a tree.
Oh, okay. It looked like they were on fire, and I thought...
They kind of did. Yeah.
Sure, I'm comfortable with the raccoons on fire.
I mean, quid pro quo. She said you weren't funny, and you just insulted her art. So, I mean, that's...
No, I didn't insult it. I'm not watching an enormously high resolution, so it's a bit blurry and it's in the background. And it just the lighter colour made it look like they're on fire. There are no animals on fire.
That one's not on fire.
Nothing's on fire in that one, so I don't care.
We're going to use that water.
That's nice.
Thank you. We're going to use that water to put out the fire. See, that's how that works.
Yeah.
Because we didn't.
Maybe that's what they are. They're just fire raccoons. Don't put them out. That's their natural state.
The raccoons didn't start the fire. It was always burning. Since the world's
turn. Oh, that's a reference for the young'uns.
Yeah. I stole that from hashtag earlier, who said it in the chat.
I feel like we need some Hall & Oates now. Definitely.
But yeah, on that note, I suppose we better go ahead and end this because I know Maddie needs a chair.
Well, it's coming.
Yeah, the chair's coming, which is not at all strange to hear. But yeah, so thank you everyone for watching, and definitely thank you again, Kevin, and thank you, Maddie.
You're welcome.
All your production stuff.
I've done a great. You wanted me to talk, so I talked.
You did.
Hang on, is Stephen Colbert on fire?
Yes.
Behind. Yeah.
Oh yes, Stephen Colbert is totally on fire wherever he is. He's there and there. Stephen Colbert is on fire.
Why do you have 2 of Colbert books behind you and only one Douglas Adams?
Because I like having 2 what people would say are liberal shills on my shelves, so that I piss everyone off.
Oh, okay. That's really good. And you got the Zohar too, so that's nice and eclectic.
Yes.
Anyway, so thank you all for watching. Know yourselves, stay snarky, and have a good night. Bye. A special thank you to all my wonderful patrons. I really appreciate your support. Also, like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss another snarky video. Don't forget to know yourself and stay snarky.